Welcome to the Global Ventures podcast. This is our second episode. My name is Ryan Lilly, and I'm the program manager here at Global Ventures at the Research Park at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is about telling the stories of the entrepreneurs who are here at Global Ventures and hopefully inspiring all of you who are listening who may be entrepreneurs here in the U.S. or international, considering doing the same. We help companies today through collaboration with researchers here at FAU, access to talented student interns, connections to our local network of business service providers, and through strategic introductions to potential customers, partners, and more. We aim to become an extension of your business development team. Today, please help me welcome our second podcast guest, Orit Benzaquen with Securily. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, Orit, just to start out, tell us a little about yourself personally, where you grew up, and maybe for those listening who have never been there before, what was the place like where you grew up?
Well, I grew up in Caracas, Venezuela, native from Venezuela, Venezolana, and it was a beautiful city. It was really safe. It was a small town comparing to the U.S. and to the cities over here. Caracas, it's a metropolitan city, but it's a small scale comparing to New York and LA, where I have lived since I moved to the States. So growing up there was pretty city-like in my memory. Back in the 1990s and 80s, it was safe, and we had a lot of commerce, and I was always attracted to new ideas and how to change, the status quo and solve issues that I could spot. Early on in my life, I had funded a company in Caracas, Venezuela, precisely with the same partner I have today. We had an idea to pretty much like AAA is doing here today. We thought, well, every time we encounter somebody that's switching a wheel, there's a lot of traffic, and it causes a huge problem in the city. So we thought, well, what about a service that you can come and just with a motorcycle, somebody comes, you call, somebody comes with a motorcycle, changes your wheel fast, and then they can move on instead of just blocking the whole traffic. So that's how pretty much we got started back then.
That's great. So then what brought you to Los Angeles and to the United States?
We came to the United States right in 2001, and I say we because my partner in business, now it's my partner in life. So we got married, and he got sponsored. He was always, he's a technology guy. So he was always developing ideas in regards to technology, and he was very attracted with cybersecurity, and he was creating an algorithm, encryption algorithm key, and a company in New York spotted him and wanted to buy basically what he created and basically sponsor him to move to New York, and that's how we both got moved to New York with working visas.
Wow. So from Venezuela to Los Angeles to New York.
From Venezuela to New York to Los Angeles to Boca Raton.
Wow. So tell me about living in those different cities. How was that, growing your company in those different cities and now bringing it here to Boca Raton? What are some of the different things that you've noticed there?
Well, we got to New York in 2001. Basically, our status was to work for this huge corporation who was traded in the market. And in 2001, there was September 11th, so everything went down the drain. We didn't do much with that company. Basically, what we got out of that first adventure was basically come here, sponsored by a huge corporation to the United States of America, which opened our eyes, and my partner got into his career path, and I, on the other side, having a H-4 visa, which doesn't allow you to work, concentrated in developing a new idea, a new business. And from New York, we moved to Los Angeles, where we also, it was, it wasn't easy, I can tell you. It took years until we we were able to be independent, and it wasn't always only our business. It was our business and also keeping a steady job. So I mainly focused on running the businesses, and my partner focused on keeping a steady job. Also, for the visa purposes, we needed to keep a steady job
Sure, sure.
for a sponsor.
So, what led to the creation of Securily? What series of events? Obviously, you and your partner had been in that industry, but what led to Securily?
Well, basically, we were working at a WeWork in Los Angeles a year and a half ago, a little bit over maybe 2 years ago, actually. And it was a great experience because working at environment where there's other entrepreneurs, there's a lot of collaboration. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? We were working at something totally different. It was more of geolocation type of product. And then a colleague of ours, Cariel, came to him, knowing that he's a security expert, and said, "Hey, I have this app, and they just ran a pen test on us, and we have some issues. Can you help us?" So Cariel got into helping them. And after that, obviously, they got the account with Slack. They were able to secure the account. And then after that, we continue. Sometimes it hits you, but it's not, it doesn't stick. So we continued to do what we were doing, but we kept that account open. So we had a client.
So you said Slack, the communication app.
Yes.
That's a huge client.
That's a huge client. That's a client that we got for our colleague. Okay. So basically, our colleague had an app for Slack, and Slack ran a penetration test in order to see if they could acquire or do business with them.
So for people listening who may not know cybersecurity, when you say pen test or penetration test, you're talking about a way to test a company's firewall, sort of their cyber defenses. So that's really what Securely is designed to do, is to help test that firewall. Is that right?
Well, yes, more or less. So nowadays, we all know every CEO out there and every founder have heard at least one time the term pen test, security scan, remediations, certifications, you name it. And the reason, even though they have nothing to do with security. And the reason why that is, it's because you might have an amazing platform, a great product, but if you want to do business with other businesses, they need to be reassured that your platform, your infrastructure, your cloud, it's secure, because you're managing PII, which is personal identifiable information, right? So what we figure is that the majority of entrepreneurs out there are great at focusing on what they do best, which is solving that big problem they found, right? And their developers are great in developing that platform, that app, but they're not expertise in security. They don't have expertise in security, right? So the moment they're ready to sell, there comes the huge corporation or the amazing client. It doesn't need to be huge nowadays. It's just to do business today, you understand that you have liabilities, and you have to deal with people that understand that back. So the minute you want to do business, they run a pen test on you, or they ask you for your last pen test to know how secure is your infrastructure, your app. So when that happens, obviously the CEO goes crazy because they want to scale up, right? And the DevOps doesn't know what to do other than fixing holes here and there, but doesn't have really a path. So that's where we come in. And the idea, big corporations have CISOs specialized in this, and small SMBs don't have the ability to hire somebody specialized in security and don't have the funds to do it, right? So what we created is a platform that lifts away all this security and compliance effort from your company and we made it. Well, by we I make myself look savvier than I am, but my partner, who's very savvy in security and has 20 years of expertise in that, made a platform where the platform basically picks what scans to run in your specific infrastructure, because whatever you have is going to be different of a different company that has in fintech, and health tech is not the same. A platform for health is not the same as a platform for HR or education, and you name it. So basically, that's what the platform does beautifully. And the idea is to be able to bring to those small companies and medium companies the best security out there for the best prices.
So, talking about the platform and the service itself, how does it work? Is it a subscription service? How often does someone need to conduct a pen test on their business?
So we run pen tests and security scans quarterly, and the reason is we would like to run it. I mean, best practices is to run it every time, every month, and maybe have some things being monitored. We run it quarterly because we focus on the remediations. So we don't just give you a pen test and you're on your own. The platform scans with different type of scans that are mainstream out there, and then a specific a manual pen tester comes and tries your infrastructure quarterly, and then with those results, we aggregate all the information. We translate it into action steps, the easy steps that you can take, and your CEO and your DevOps can have a conversation and say, hey, let's just fix these 3 things. So we focus on showing you where you can be, scanning you for security, but also helping you, taking you to the remediations path, and also to compliance. By the end of the day, some companies are required to have certification like HIPAA, CMMC, or SOC, or ISO if you're dealing with Europe. So those certifications, to get to those certifications, you have to definitely do the security part first, remediations, and then scan again, and then start the prepping to be in front of an auditor that would grant you those certifications.
Sure. So you've mentioned a few different industries: fintech, healthcare. Can you tell us, is there a target that you're looking at? What does an ideal customer look like for you? And obviously you work across industries, but is there an ideal customer you have in mind?
Well, yes. The ideal customer for us are SMBs that are cloud-based businesses.
Okay.
That's basically it. Not a specific vertical, because they're, like I mentioned, our platform has different type of scans, and the idea as we grow in the quantity of clients is that their platform is going to tell which scans to be launched depending on who you are and what your business is about.
That's great. So how do you currently market your business? How do people usually find out about Securily, and how do you introduce your product to them?
Okay, so we just launched our platform, our automated platform. We've been operating for the last 2 years with 5 clients that were basically acquired word of mouth. We never market yet our platform because we were learning from these clients. They're paying clients. We're not doing it for free, but we were doing it very manually and understanding from their perspective what they need, what's relevant, what's not relevant. Also, we got to bear in mind that we care so much about security, but we understand that our clients maybe don't care so much about security only when it comes that security is a stopper for deal procuring. So when security becomes a friction to scaling up fast and effectively, then that's where our clients come to us and say, hey, they asked me for a pen test. I need to remediate. Hey, I need to get to SOC 2 within, months. How can you help me? So that's where we come in. So basically that's our focus. SMBs that are in maybe the first stages, and it's our passion, really. We both were entrepreneurs since we were teens, and we understand the struggles of the entrepreneur, and we want to enable them. And especially for me, that I'm a woman, I have met so many brilliant female entrepreneurs. They just don't have the support to take their product where they need to be, where they should be. So I'm passionate about enabling all these people to get to their maximum potential.
How can we support more women entrepreneurs, especially in technology? What are some of the resources or things that are lacking right now?
Wow, that's a great question. I think the more women get together to support each other, the better. So for Global Ventures, I think it's a great initiative to get more women CEOs in here. So not only Karen from Gusty and me are getting together and talking about what our struggles are in our businesses and how can we help each other. I mean, we technically are very women. We are like very communal in our ways, and are more reserved. But technically, women like helping each other and help, and that's a great way to enable any entrepreneur, really, male or female. But especially for women, I think bringing more female CEOs here would do a lot.
Through the power of community and bringing everyone
Through the
together.
power of community and
That's great.
connection, yeah,
So,
and collaboration.
so what's been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as an entrepreneur? And for someone listening who may be starting a business either in the U.S. or maybe they're international and they're looking to come to the U.S., looking back, what would you have done differently, or what's been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned in growing a company?
Wow. I always think of that, and I think be ready to pivot and be open to, don't get stuck with your first idea, because the more you're like, no, this is the idea, I don't want to move from this idea, the less you're open to opportunities that may come your way. So sometimes we're very stuck in our ways, and we don't listen to the market or what, it's coming your way, because sometimes it's just pure luck, or coincidence or God, or however you want to call it, serendipity, if that's how you pronounce it, and being open to change and pivoting in your company, it's key to success.
Sure. And you mentioned earlier having, for 2 years, had those 5 customers and really listened and gotten their feedback.
That's right.
And I think that's so important. A lot of businesses don't take the time to do that. They're just immediately, focused on scaling and getting as many customers as they can. But you're really trying to listen and get feedback that you needed to iterate and make the product better. And that's so important.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know that you're new to Global Ventures, so you haven't been here very long, but what have you noticed about some different things that Global Ventures, obviously the community here, and you mentioned Karen and connecting with the other companies, but what are some benefits that you see to being a part of Global Ventures?
Well, Ryan, don't forget, we do business with people that we trust and people that connect with us. So sometimes I think putting money into marketing, digital marketing is always very important, but there's nothing like doing business with somebody and you have seen in person, and there's a different feeling, because there's some exchange of trust in there. So I think Global Ventures have been really key, and like you mentioned, we're only a month and a half here. We already have a client and maybe 2. We already onboarded James from RichLink, and we're looking forward to onboard the rest. It's a great deal, because not only are we getting new clients without any marketing, advertising, or whatsoever, but we're also feeling that feeling of fulfillment, because we're helping our colleagues. We're still helping our colleagues,
Sure.
And they are helping us too.
So I should mention, you came to Global Ventures through the Endeavor program.
That's right.
With the city of Boca Raton. And just a shout out to all of our friends at Endeavor. Tell us about your experience with Endeavor, and what sort of lessons or things did you take away from that program?
Game changer. That's the expression. I never thought it was gonna be such a game changer. I'm a advanced, I would say, entrepreneur. I have done this many times, but never have I went into a program such as Endeavor before. And I thought I knew everything. You know, I had under my belt like so much experience, and this time I'm gonna do it all right because I know what to do and what not to do. And since I went to Endeavor, literally our eyes open up to a new, different, like there, you can underestimate the power of starting with the coaches and people that are driven to bringing information, um, contacts, resources that are very helpful, especially with, you know, me being a foreigner. Now I'm an American, but me being a foreigner and not coming from this environment, I forget how many good resources there are state-wise and national-wise. So being part of a Endeavor was a game changer for us.
That's great. It's again about the community. It's about the people that you surround yourself with, and
Right.
that's one of the great things that Endeavor helps to do in the ecosystem here. So, just as we start to wrap up, talking about cybersecurity in general and small to medium-sized businesses, many small to medium businesses don't sort of realize the impact that a cyber attack can have on their business. Do you have any maybe stories, the impact that a cyber attack can have on a company? I've seen, you know, companies that literally, you know, they have to stop their operations when they have a cyber attack.
Yeah.
But do you have any stories like that you can share?
It's two stories of two different clients. So one is a very big e-commerce website. I won't say the name, but they're doing millions a month. So an employee left, and they started having some issues with in regards to PII. So that's where
Remind us what PII is again.
personal identifiable information.
Okay.
So anything that has to do with addresses, names, credit cards, you name it. Not in this particular case, but in any case, PII is any information that can be leaked that would hold you ransom. There's another client abroad, not in the U.S., that were hacked, and they were asked for $50,000 in ransom.
Wow.
So yeah, we think cyber attacks are only for the government and big corporations, and that happens more often than you think in small SMBs because they're out there and they know the minute you're desperate and your business depends on it, you're gonna pay whatever price you have to pay just to be able to continue to do business. So yeah.
Very good. So one of the last questions here, where do you see your business Securily 5 years from now? What plans do you have for growth? What do you think the company is going to look like in 5 years in terms of customers that you're serving, how big your company is, those kind of things?
Okay, so we recently, through Endeavor, learned how to do our project KPIs and our pitch deck and all that. We never, ever before fundraised or thought about fundraising because our Venezuelan training is you just put some money together from friends and family, and you run your business, and your business needs to be, profitable right away. And then you scale up as much as you can with your own resources. So being in the U.S., it's a game changer because this market is huge, and you got to understand that with your own resources and growing organically, it's not good enough for this market. This market it's great if you have the resources to inject in your business and then expand. So basically, one of the things we're looking to do now, we're raising our seed capital fund.
Okay.
For $1 million based on saves. And then from the seed capital fund is going to take us a year into round A, which is what we're projecting, having at least created $1 million in revenue. And then we can engage with VCs and start pitching, to VCs in order to get funded for an A round. And that will take us 5 years from now. I hope we can exit with, and if I'm being a great entrepreneur like I am, turning Securily into a unicorn company. And I don't know if it would be the first unicorn company led by a woman in tech.
Wow, that's exciting. The first unicorn company led by a woman in tech. That's
a Latina woman in tech. Because I'm pretty sure there are unicorn companies led by a woman. I'm not sure there is one by a Latina woman in tech. But
very
that's
exciting.
my goal.
That's a very, very exciting goal. So for those listening who want to learn more about Securily and explore your services, can you tell us your website and how people can best find out more about you?
Well, usually people get in touch with me via LinkedIn, and I'm happy to give anybody out there any advice in business. I have my own podcast called Amigas in Business, which I started way before COVID because I love community and I love inspiring other people with and telling my own story and how whatever I learn, I'm happy to share, and connections I have, I'm happy to give. So Orit Benzaquen, which is OritBenZaquen in my LinkedIn account. And then that's the best way to communicate with me directly. And then for my website is Securily.com.
Perfect. And we'll put a link to that down in the comments below. And really encourage you to check out Securily for your business and to always be thinking about your cybersecurity as you're growing your company. So wrapping up today, thank you so much, Orit, for being on the podcast. We're so excited to have had you share your story.
Thank you, Ryan.
I want to thank a few people as we wrap up here. James Faris from ReachLink and Rob Kennedy from Darumatech for putting this podcast room together. Thank you so much to Carla, our audio engineer today. Thank you also to our team here at the Research Park, our president, Andrew Duffel, and my colleague, Jackie Wales, as well for their support. If you want to learn more about Global Ventures, you can check out globalventuresfau.org. We'll put that link in the comments as well. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Global Ventures podcast. Have a great day.
Thank you.